A lot of what I'm going to be talking about to you today is in a nutshell what we're already telling your students. So you don't have to memorize and remember and prep your student on these things. We're also telling them this, but it helps you to maybe know our expectations of your student and the kind of information we're giving them. They're going to be coming here and making a lot of decisions for themselves that they haven't felt maybe empowered to do so before. I think we need to make sure your students are aware that they have a lot of choice in the degree they take, the classes they schedule. Monmouth doesn't make them take a degree or make them take a course. Now, we might strongly advise that if you're going to be a nurse, you need to take the prereq courses for nursing, those kinds of things. But it really is the student's choice as to how they come through. But with that, we do try to fully support them so that they make really good decisions to keep them on track to reach their goals. And so we're really excited to have your students joining us. It's a great class of students, but we also know every student is unique. And I know it's kind of tired, right? Oh yeah, they're unique. We love your students. We do. We love working with students. We are a teaching-focused institute. The people that are here because they like being in the classroom. They like being with students. They like helping them succeed, all the way through the staff and the administration as well as faculty. And so with that, we make every effort to meet your student where they are. It does, we can look at average GPA of the incoming class, but it doesn't tell us a whole lot about who the actual students are that are in that class. We know, because of experience in working with students, kind of what to expect, but all of our services are set up so that let's have a conversation about what that student needs. What is their issue? Where do they need support? Than it is all students must take a math tutoring class or something like that, right? So I want you to understand that little bit. But the other thing we understand about your student is that they're making some big life decisions right now, and there's a lot of different ways students do that. So I have a bunch of photos and images in my presentation this morning that, by the way, are all students on campus. But the three here are kind of different perspectives on how students make decisions. One, follow the crowd. My friends are all doing. This is a safe decision because my friends think it's a cool degree and it's really, like they really think nursing is great or they really think accounting is great or whatever it might be, right? And it fits with how they view themselves with their social group, with their family. It's making my parents really happy that I chose this degree path. Right? So that's just following the external pressures, and it feels right to the student at the time, and it reduces their anxiety. I chose a degree path. Some of those students stick with that degree path, others will change later. The middle path here is they've come in and they've identified a strong, established, this degree gets this kind of job outcome, right? And so they really feel like I'm picking an established career path program. Everything's laid out, there's not a lot of choice. That's my safety net. And then we have the students who strike out on their own and create a whole set of qualifications and skills that they think are important to them, they're passionate about, that gets them excited to wake up in the morning. They do independent research and so on, right? And they can do that too here. And all of these students are fully supported. All of these students can be highly successful as they develop into young adults, community leaders, and successful life balancers. Is there such a thing? Being successful at balancing life? Okay, so we do have a lot of undecided students. So if your student is undecided, take comfort. We're used to that. You can be undecided at Monmouth for quite a while. And Danielle Schrama, I'm going to have up here later to talk about what they'll experience in their advising session. We're very used to working with and supporting those students. In fact, most of our students will take a lot of gen ed credits in their first year that allows them to figure things out and make a strong choice on how to go forward. So you can kind of experiment and test the waters and think and get more information in your first few semesters at Monmouth safely and still be on track to get your degree, because all undergraduate students must complete the gen ed requirements, okay? But the main thing you can do as a parent is not to pick their major for them. Yes, have the conversation, talk about the pros and cons, make them engage in the conversation and really investigate what they're doing. You could have a student who picks and stays with that the entire time. They know what they want to do. Then you can have this student, such as mine, who changed majors constantly. Minors, majors. In the end, figured it out, has a successful life. But yes, for parents, it's a bit hard because you're not sure, right? But the thing is, it's a good environment for them to figure out what they really want to do. And as long as there's some basics that you kind of keep in mind as we go through, they can do it in 4 years and without additional cost. Our goal is to keep them on track for a 4-year graduation. So our degrees are 120 credits at the undergraduate level. There may be a couple that are a few over that, but that is 4 years of 15 credits a semester, fall and spring. If your student is taking 15 credits a semester, successfully completing those, and the key is all those credits do count in their degree somewhere, they will be on track. Students can take more credits if they can handle the load and at no additional cost. But you should watch the GPA. You want it to be a good, solid GPA for the career they're going into. And then that kind of can tell you how many credits they can handle. Now, we do have cases where a student takes only 12 credits. Maybe they have a really heavy schedule outside of the classroom. They're an athlete and it's their competing season. They have a really tough set of courses that they need to focus on those 12 credits, and then they'll later make up some things. So there's choices here. But if you're concerned about the 4-year completion, the rate is 15 credits a semester, balanced out. We also have summer school available. We have other options. And somebody asked in one of the sessions yesterday about summer school. Absolutely available, not a requirement, does cost extra. Okay? General ed requirements, everybody takes. There's also school-specific requirements sometimes that everybody in that school must complete. There's major requirements, things you need to get the major, and then there are free elective credits. And free electives are actually free electives. They can take any credits and they can slot in here. So there's some really great uses for free elective credits, such as getting a minor, or I needed to switch majors, so a bunch of stuff that doesn't count in accounting slid into my free electives, those kinds of things, right? It's a safety. Some students save them up and go on study abroad and take some really interesting courses that aren't available here, that don't count in our degrees but are really educational for the student. So you can strategically plan to use your free electives. What is your role? Congratulate yourself. Your students made it into Monmouth and is going to come here and be successful. You now get to sit back and be emotional, psychological, financial sometimes support. The more you make your student own their decisions, their degree choices, the way they go through, and trust that they're going to figure it out, the more that they'll build confidence in what they're doing and become confident individuals who can make good decisions, figure things out, and navigate life, right? But you know your student best. Some students are ready to make those decisions. Others really do need assistance and support to build their confidence that they're on track and doing the right thing. It is really difficult to go from a high school curriculum where your day is planned for you to just taking classes, 5 courses in a semester, and figuring out what to do with your free time. Which is not, don't do anything until the night before something's due, because many of our assignments and projects take more work than that, right? But it's tough for our young people to be really organized. Now, some of your students are uber organized. They're going to start planning their schedule right now, mapping it out. And then there's the students who will get through the first week of classes and not know where to go next. We'll help them with that. They have faculty advisors, they have first-year advisors, their professors will help them. They just need to actually ask for help, and that sometimes is difficult. We also do some monitoring and checking in with students to make sure that they're on track. But we actually have time management coaching available for students. It's part of our tutoring services. So you can go to tutoring for all types of support. It doesn't have to be, I don't understand this math problem. Maybe it's, I need some help understanding how to get through my degree, how to get through my semester, how to prepare for midterms, how to prepare for finals, how to set up my study schedule. So you need to know these all exist as well. Tutoring services are not for failing students. They are. They're there to help them. But all students use tutoring. It's for students who want to take where they are and raise it up. They're really working on their skill sets. I'm getting a B in this class, I want to get an A. All students should feel fully welcome coming into those services, taking advantage of what's available to them here, and improving all their skill sets. The other one I'd like to point out is much of your students' life, unless they've worked a lot, and some of your students do work and are building a resume already, they really struggle with the difference between people being their friend and working with professional colleagues and peers. And the key to that is they really are concerned over whether somebody likes them as a person or not. And they struggle when they're not getting signals from whoever they're talking to. It seems like they don't like me, right? But it could be the professor has utter respect for their work, but they're just not engaging with the student as a friend would and saying those social things that friends say to each other to let them know that they're well-liked. And for some students, that's really difficult to understand the difference between a friend that you can share everything with and they've got your back, and professional colleagues that work with you, respect you, but maybe don't care whether they eat lunch with you or not, right? So that can sometimes cause anxiety in students, but it's about getting the work done in a timely manner, everybody doing their part, and not getting wrapped up in the emotional response of whether someone likes you or not, right? So I'm just saying that could be something that crops up. We do help students with those kinds of transitions as well, but I'd say that's something to kind of keep an eye on. So some basic advice that many of you already know for academic success is to show up. Many classes don't take a lot off for lack of attendance, but some do. I think it's really important for you to understand we do not have a uniform policy as to how courses are graded, how courses treat attendance or late work. It is specific to each course. So the really important thing is for your student to understand that the syllabus lays it all out. It's like a contract between the professor and the student, and it could differ course to course, and it can differ from Professor Jones' 100-level course to Professor Jones' 200-level course where the syllabus is entirely different and the way they're graded is different and the expectations are different. And if they understand that, they'll have a lot more ease at getting through their courses successfully because they need to pay attention to that syllabus and what counts for what. Because they can spend a lot of time on really important, maybe developmental work in the class, and they think they're getting hundreds on all the homework assignments, and then they did not really put a good effort into the paper that was worth 30% of their grade. And all the homework assignments are worth 5% of the course grade. That kind of strategic understanding of where to put your best work so that you can achieve the grade you want to achieve in that course. Also, there's the organization of the university. Your student will have a first-year advisor in their first year. They will then be assigned to an academic advisor in the degree program that they're in. They are the ask them anything person. They're there to help them find what they need to find, get their schedule, understand the profession they're going into, all kinds of things. But they can also tell them where a building is located. They need to learn to interact with their professors in a professional way and get lots of information out of them as well. And they also can get career advice and other types of support from the professors. We enjoy talking to the students. If they have an issue and it can't be resolved with the professor directly in a course, they can go to the chair of the department and speak to them and see if a resolution can happen. And in the rare case that something doesn't get resolved there, they can go to the dean or the provost after that. But I just thought I'd give you guys a heads up. We're really focused on using our channels of reporting. And so if a student comes to the dean or the provost office and has not talked to their professor and not talked to the chair, we're going to send them back because all of those levels need to be gone through. They're welcome to come into the provost office and ask questions, get advice. But when it comes down to resolving an issue, it's going to go through the correct channel. I would like to bring up Danielle Schrama. She is our Director of First Year Advising to kind of give you an overview as to what your students are experiencing in their advising appointments today. And by the end of this thing, we will give time for questions.
Okay. Thank you, Susan. Good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Danielle Schrama. I'm Director of the First Year Advising Program at Monmouth. What I'd like to do this morning is give you an overview of the Office of First Year Advising, and then also just give you an overview of what your student will be experiencing today when they meet with a first year advisor. So to begin with, I want to stress the importance of first year advising as your student's academic home throughout their first year. So as you've heard from some of the speakers this morning, and as you will be hearing throughout your day today, Monmouth has a lot of resources, a lot of support for all students, no matter what level they're in, but especially for our first years. We work very closely with other offices on campus to help students succeed, to help them get the resources that they needed to be successful students here at the university. So we are the academic home for our first year students. I included the website address for the Center for Student Success, and Dr. Gupta was talking a little bit about the services, and you're going to hear again a lot about that today as well. And if you're like me, you absorb and you take notes, but then later tonight or over the weekend, you may want to go home and take a look at our website. And the Center for Student Success will highlight in detail all of the services, not only first year advising, but tutoring and writing, and a lot of the other services that we have here at the university. So our office is made up of professional staff, full-time people like myself who work throughout the entire academic year and in the summer to help students. In addition, we have about 35 full-time faculty who work out in the department. So your son or daughter will be advised by a faculty member from either chemistry or psychology or business. This is a choice for them. They want to work with first-year students. They come to my office, they get specially trained to be generalists in everything advising. So although, yes, they are specialists in teaching and doing research in their particular fields of interest and expertise, they are a first-year advisor. So they actually spend time in my office with appointment hours to advise your students throughout their first year. After the first year, your students will transition to their academic department. So for example, if they're business, they'll go over to Bay Hall and have a business advisor. If they're psychology, they'll go to humanities, and so on. After today, what we will do is assign your son or daughter to a first-year advisor before school starts. So they will get a welcome email from their advisor with their office hours, their name, their contact information, and then a link to make an appointment with them. So everything will be emailed to them. Any encouragement that you can give your students to please read their email regularly. They will receive information not only from my office, but from other really important offices on campus, like health services, financial aid, bursar, with payment information. All of that goes to the student's email. What I'd like to talk about next is what happens today during their advising meeting. So I know as families, you have a packed schedule. And as students, they are off with their orientation leader and have a packed schedule full of information that's really important that you need to know about the university. Part of your student's day will include coming down to my office and getting an overview of the Center for Student Success, highlighting all of the offices that we talked about earlier, tutoring and writing and so on. And then in addition, they'll be meeting one-on-one with a faculty advisor. They'll be registering for fall today. So later today, when you meet up with them, when you're driving home, they will have a copy of their fall schedule and a folder with a lot of other information that they've gathered throughout their day. They'll also be going over what we highlighted earlier, the general education requirements for a particular major requirements, free electives. Advisors also go over things like AP credit, transfer credit, and I know a lot of scores haven't come in yet, and that's okay. We will monitor that throughout the summer. What I want to stress today is that the schedule is not set in stone. Yes, your student has a schedule today. However, if they choose to make a change, or if they have AP or transfer credit that comes in over the summer, we encourage them to reach out to us at the phone number or email listed on the screen, and we can schedule either a Zoom appointment or an in-person appointment, whatever is convenient for your student, to follow up, or if there are additional questions, or if they're like me, 2 weeks before school started, they changed their major and had to totally redo their schedule. It's okay. It's fine. We are open all summer and available for your students. I'd like to talk a little bit about our undeclared or undecided students, or even students who change majors. So just by show of hands, if you wouldn't mind raising your hand if your student is undeclared or undecided about their major. I was one of those students. Okay, great. Yeah, and I say great because I was an undeclared student. I made it. I'm okay. I got a degree. It's very common. We have a large percentage of students who come in undeclared, undecided, or who want to change majors. And I think really the beauty about the Monmouth's curricula is that it is flexible, meaning that most students take general education classes their first semester. So you'll see classes on their schedule like English and maybe aesthetic like art, music, theater, dance, maybe a technology class or a math. All of these are requirements for graduation. The most important thing is that we communicate with your student and they communicate with us. Majors they're thinking about, minors, career interests, so we can gear them towards particular majors. But at Monmouth, we really believe that everybody benefits from career work, whether your student is undeclared, undecided, wants to switch, even if they have a major. It's important for them to start talking to people about, what can I do with this major? What's a typical day like as an accountant or as an attorney? You know, what is the job outlook, or what's the starting salary? Some of those questions that they really need to start to think about. So Monmouth has services for that. Specifically in first year, we do have a first-year undeclared career counselor, and students can make an appointment, again, by calling or emailing us over the summer or during the academic year. We have a lot of different interest inventories that help students that are tied to the Department of Labor. It's called What Can I Do with This Major? And the Focus Career Assessment that students really enjoy using, and then we go over the results with them one-on-one in an appointment. So please encourage your students to take advantage of that as well, whether or not they have a major. At Monmouth, students can remain undeclared until the end of their sophomore year. So there's a lot of flexibility to take classes that are of interest to them and kind of explore before they make a decision. They can even follow a track for a major and not declare. Sometimes students get nervous and they're like, I don't want to commit to this major, but I want to take a molecular bio class or an intro to psych. We encourage that. There's no pressure to declare that major, but they do have to declare by the end of their sophomore year. So during the academic year, our first-year advisors meet with your students regularly to go over things like registration, right? So we know that's really important. They want to register for classes. So that's the carrot to get them in, to meet with us, to go over their spring classes. So they'll do that in the fall. They'll register for spring. We will also talk about their transition. How are things going? How are your classes? Do you need help with anything? Do you need to go for tutoring or writing? We also have counseling on the third floor of the Student Center. A lot of offices that are in easy walking distance to where we are located. The first week of classes at Monmouth University is called Drop Add Week. So this is the week of the first week of every semester at the university. So seniors can take advantage of this, first years, but your students will have the opportunity to actually attend classes for an entire week, meet their faculty, read their syllabi, and if they want to make any final changes to their schedule, they can come to my office, again, Student Center, lower level. They can meet with the first available advisor and make any final changes without a W or a drop on their schedule. So there's plenty of time, like I said, this summer, and then that drop add week to finalize their schedule before things get settled in, and then they pursue their fall semester courses. Okay, so again, I want to welcome you to the Monmouth family. I will be available at the end of the presentation to answer any questions, and enjoy your day. Thank you.
One of the nice advantages of being at Monmouth with the size we are is we have a lot of different things going on, but there's not as much competition for those leadership roles, so your student actually has the chance to lead a club because there's just so many, and we need lots of students to do it, all kinds of things like that. But I would like to talk to you a little bit about two really popular development choices programs that students ask about a lot, to give you a little bit of basic information. And the first up is our global programs. Many students come in their undergraduate program wanting to study abroad, or at least having heard about study abroad and wanting more information on it. Many of our students do study abroad for an entire semester. Other students, because of their curriculum, their life, their family, their personal needs and wants, are not comfortable or not able to study abroad for an entire semester, so we have other choices for them to still get a global experience. So this slide here has some of our, what we call signature programs at Monmouth, where we've worked very closely with a foreign university to equate classes, to provide services and support that you would find here at Monmouth at that foreign institute. And there's a lot of support and planning around these study abroad semesters. My strongest suggestion to you is that you have your student, if they plan to study abroad anytime that they're here, or just want more information to figure out whether they're even interested in doing so, that they come to the study abroad office and have an appointment to discuss it in their freshman year. Because study abroad normally is done, say, junior year, senior year, and it is best to start that conversation really early to understand how it works, to understand if you need to save certain courses because you're going to go to Florence and that's what they offer there, and it will make it seamless, and all the credits they take will count in their degree and check things off of that audit that they need, right? And so all of that planning and careful support is there. Normally, students are going with groups of students, so they have some peer support while they're there, and we also have a lot of office support. We also have global seminars, which are our faculty-led programs where a faculty develops a course, a single course that has a trip associated with it. The trips normally occur over winter break, over spring break, over summer, and there may be 1 to 3 weeks in length, and they're very connected to the curriculum. So if you're interested in anything around the global trips and travel and expanding your students' horizons, I strongly suggest that they attend something during their freshman year, go talk to an advisor, and there's also some parent sessions on information around study abroad. The other program many of you are probably already aware of is what's called the Bachelor's plus Master's program. And this is for students who know that they want to pursue a master's or a doctoral degree before they leave the university. And it is an advisory pathway that if the student gets put onto it, they get extra advice around how to seamlessly come into and meet all the admissions requirements for the master's program or the doctoral program. What many people do not understand is that it's not committing to actually completing the master's degree when you sign up. What you're saying is, I want more information, I want all the advice, I want all of the orientation so I understand what I need to do to be successful, and I'll let you know when I get there whether I'm going to do the master's. And we're very successful in this program. We have a large number of students that are pursuing master's degrees. One example I have, because I used to be the director for the MBA program, is our 5-year MBA program, where if the students in the business school know they want an MBA and they stay on track with the advising on this pathway, they can complete their MBA in 1 year. And that gives them a boost up onto the job market. They can get into the Bachelor's plus Master's program up until they've completed 90 credits, so that you could actually be entering your junior year and still get into this program. But once they've completed 90 credits, they can no longer get this because basically the advising takes place during the freshman, sophomore, and junior year to get into the program. They can still do their master's though. They just come in as a regular master's student. Okay? So if you have any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer more. And I would like to thank you for coming to the presentation today. Danielle and I are happy to answer questions at this point because we have a little bit of time to do so. Anything that you have, we'll try to field, whether it's the academic area or other areas at Monmouth.